Dog Works Radio is sponsored by Alaska Dog Works. Check out their website at alaskadogworks.com. From First Paw Media, sponsored by First Paw Coffee Company, this is the Dog Driver Show. Visit our website at dogworksradio.com. Now here are your hosts, Robert Forto and Parto.
Hello and welcome everybody. This is Robert. I'm here with my co-host KP and we are the Dog Driver Show. And today we have a guest calling in from Sweden. KP, who do we have?
Today we have a very interesting dog driver from Kiruna, Sweden, Lars Lindh, who's been in the sport for a long time. He has a tremendous amount of experience, not only in dog breeding, but also racing in Europe, in North America, and he has done it all in 8-dog class with purebred GSPs and with mixed hounds also. Lars, welcome to the show, and for our listeners, tell us a little bit who you are and how you started in this sport.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm starting out as a kid. I have a teacher in school when I was 13 who had Greenland dogs, and he asked in the class if somebody wants to follow him out on a trip with those dogs, and I was the only one that raised my arm. So it's actually how it started with my teacher and a bunch of Greenland dogs.
And how did that evolve later? I know that you have different type of dogs, and you have GSPs, you have mixes. Tell us a little about the whole story. How all of that continued.
Back then it was in the beginning of 80s, 83 or 84, and there was a lot of sled dogs actually in this area of Kiruna, and most are used for touring and go out in the mountains because it's very popular here in Kiruna. Because it's so close to the mountains, so people go out and they start using dogs. And we also have a race here in Kiruna, was 250 kilometers that everybody wants to do when they have their own dogs, and so from there it start getting those Greenland hunt dogs were bred into German short-hair pointers, and they tried a little bit different type of dogs. Most of Siberian Husky were used at that time and so on, but also there start to be in a lot of mixed breed. So I was interested, and when I moved to this house where with my wife Petra in 95, we started our own kennel, a little bit bigger and so on, and I drive mid-distance at that time.
And currently, the dogs that you have, they are mainly, if I'm not mistaken, GSP, German Shorter Pointers, that you are racing and you are training in Sweden. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. We only have GSP right now, and a couple of them are not even GSP there, but they are they look like GSP, all of them, but most of them are purebred GSPs, yes.
Lars, a lot of our listeners, they are not sled dog drivers, and they are just animal lovers. Recently, you came to North America, actually several times, but very recently to Canada for the World Championship, where you guys actually won the World Championship in 8-dog class.
Yeah.
Tell me about the experience.
It was really great. I worked together with Tina Teres, who is a paraplegic, and she raised dogs, and she asked me if I want to, a couple of years ahead of before we went to Halliburton, I want to help her raise her team though, and I did. So we did that for a couple of years. We went to Germany for the World Championship, and we got third there. So we set up the goals for Halliburton and trained for that. So it was a great experience. But I've been to Canada before to race with Streepers in 2013. So it was good that I have that experience to actually go over and race one season with them. So it was really nice to have that experience when I flew over with our dogs, though, me and Tina and another guy who helped us over there. because we fly with a normal plane, not a cargo plane or anything like that. So.
And comparing your trails in Kiruna in Sweden in overall and trails in Canada, Haliburton, that you raced, what were the challenge and what was different?
Yeah, they were very wide, and but otherwise it was really very well groomed, and it was a nice area to race, and it was a little bit shorter than we expected actually. I think it was only like 13 kilometers or so, and we were expecting like 18. But otherwise, it was really great. It was pretty flat, but it also was some really steep, small climbs that we did, and some really steep downhill sections, and some interesting curves and so on. And so it was great, and it was easy to pass other teams, and it was a lot of spectators, and so it was great. It was not so much difference from racing in Scandinavia, except for the trail was really wide.
And when you got there, did you have a lot of North Americans, people from Canada, from United States or Alaska, coming and checking on you to see? Because it's not very common. We have 8-dog class drivers coming to North America. We have a couple open teams coming once in a while, but not often seeing 8-dog class since the early 2000s, which was more common and easier to bring the dogs. Did you make a lot of friends? Did a lot of people that came over to visit with you?
Yeah, but we have a pretty long drive to the race site from where we stay, so there was not much other than some Norwegian and Finnish people where we lived. So, but during the race days, we make a lot of contacts, and we have talked a lot with Cale Casey and Jordan, who was making a film, the Dog Power movie, and we met them there too, and so it was great, yeah.
And you coming from Kiruna, which is north Sweden. What are
above the Arctic Circle?
Above the Arctic Circle, yeah.
Yeah.
What are the challenges? I believe that there is a sled dog club in Kiruna. Is that correct?
Yeah, we are actually the oldest sled dog club in Sweden, and we have a lot of members, and we have a lot of people that work in the club, and we have a really nice race area where we have trails from 800 meters up to 42 kilometers, and so we can train and race up there all winter long. We used to start in late December, and last year we could train on the club trails all the way to mid of May. So it's really good.
Oh, definitely. Being so far up north, how do you guys work with the lack of light and darkness being up there?
Yeah, it's because I'm born and raised here, so it's I mean you're pretty used to it. But I know people that have moved up here from south part of Sweden. They can see it very hard during like this period, late November and December and January. After January, it's turned out to be lighter again, though, and of course for most of the time all the snow, and we got northern light and full moon and so on, so it's not actually really that dark. It doesn't felt that dark in a way, so but it can be dark and very cold, but you you get used to it.
You get used to it. Do you
yeah.
Do you Lars, when you are training with your team, do you wear headlamps actually that period of time with the sprint team?
Actually, since we got this GSP, and I got to work in one of the plants on the mine, so I work shifts. So I work afternoon, and then I got 1 week free, so I can train during the daytime for 2 weeks, and then I have my morning shifts. Then I train in the afternoon, but then I free the weekend, so I can train pretty much in daylight. So that's pretty good.
That is good. That is good. We of course, in Alaska, we have some darkness too, but it's not as bad as above the Arctic Circle, as you're talking about. Definitely. Lars, I believe last year you made it up to Alaska. Was it your first time in Alaska?
Yeah, it was my first time, yes. And I actually, when I was younger, I was planning to go over handling for somebody, but I didn't have the courage to do that. So, but when I get older and I got the offer from Streepers in 2013, I got a chance to go over to Canada, and we raced in the Wyoming stage top race too. So, but last year was the first time in Alaska, and I was there with my longtime friend Mats Pettersson, who I've run the ID now 6 times. So it was pretty great, and we were end up at Linwood Fiedler's place in Willow, Alaska. So it was super good training facilities and everything, good trails, and really camaraderie people and so on. So it was really great to be there. And I hope to come back someday, but now, of course, of the pandemic, it's pretty difficult, everything.
Well, I hope that it's going to be, hopefully it's going to end up soon and find a vaccine, and so we can continue our lives. When you were in Alaska, Lars, I remember you showed up for Rendezvous, for Rondi race. Tell me about your vision as a person who lives in Sweden, coming and watching one of the greatest races in the world.
No, there was a long time dream that I could fulfill to watch the Rondi, and it's great. Of course, I have heard so much about the Rondi and everything. So, but it's so crazy that so many open team can gather together and start in the middle of a really big city, and you pretty much run the whole race in really near that city and come back to finish in that 4th Avenue. It was really impressive to see the teams and to witness the team coming up for the Cordova Hill was something that I have dreamed a long time to see, and it was great. And of course I know Buddy since I've been over to them, and it was great to see him succeed at that race. So it was really nice.
And watching the teams as a person who has been in the sled dog sport for many, many years, Lars, looking at the dogs we use for Rendezvous and the different type of dogs that we have for Rondi, what is the difference that you notice between the dogs that you have or the dogs that you ran in Scandinavia and the dogs that you see doing this race?
Yeah, they pretty much look pretty much the same as I did when I did the mid-distance race in the 90s and the 890s, when there were kind of houndy Alaskans that I used and a little bit mixed, half German Shorthair Pointers and Alaskan Huskies. So I think it's a really great type of dogs that they use there, and some of them are a little bit furrier and they look a little bit more like the old style of Huskies that we have up here. And now since we got this, most of the Scandinavian, all of the sprint mushers there in Kiruna, in this area of Sweden, they have most pretty extreme kind of dogs that looks more. Now they're also into mixing in greyhounds and stuff like that. So I think for me they are more. I like those dogs more that you have there than we have here. They tend to be a little bit too extreme, I guess, here for me anyway.
Yeah, Lars, we've talked about GSPs several times. In this conversation. German Shorthair Pointers are fairly commonly used as sled dogs in Sweden. Tell me about the history of German Shorthairs in Sweden and how they are sled dogs actually.
Yeah, normally it's a hunting dog though. When they were in Kiruna, in this area where we live, it's pretty common that they use for hunting. They hunt a lot of grouse and in the autumn and so on. And so there've been a lot of German Shorthairs, and of course before it was the ski joring was very big with Pulka and so in Scandinavia and Kiruna and Sweden. So then they see that they were really fast and strong. So I've seen over the last couple of years they have been more breed for pulling sleds or going with skis. So they're a little bit different types I like to see them a little bit not so big that they used to be, like old style of German breed. They are a little bit heavy in the front and so on. So I like those little bit smaller German short-hair pointer. They are especially bred for sled dog driving or skioring. So, but they have been around for as long as I know, since the early 80s as sled dogs in Kiruna.
And did you you've been breeding German Shorthairs also? Is that right?
No, we haven't. We have tried to do it, but we have had a couple of females that doesn't like to breed. So we're still working on it. So we have now a really good female that we want to breed, but she's not interested yet. But we have tried several times. But we have bought most of our GSPs from Norway and a couple from Finland. So we have them in. Now we have 9. 2 young ones and 7 adult ones. So I hope I can race in the 6-dog class this winter.
That would be ultimate to see the GSPs running in a 6-dog class all together. That would be good. You mentioned in 2013 you were working with the Streepers in the Streeper kennel in British Columbia, Canada. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that experience. How was that? Coming all the way from Sweden as someone who is familiar with sled dogs, almost, and working with the Streeper kennels.
No, it was great. I mean, since Buddy's wife, Lina, she's been working for my neighbor when she was studying here in Kiruna. So I know her from earlier. And we also have Buddy as a speaker. So I know them. Lina pretty well and Bud a little bit, so it was great to meet them up actually and do one race season with them, and it was the main goal that we have was the Wyoming stage stop race, but we did several other races around in Canada all the way from Cross Lake and Prince Albert, and this was in the PA World Championships, and all of those races are mass starts, so it's but we also have races here in Sweden that are mass starts. I was pretty used to that. And but of course they are really dog persons, both Buddy and Terry. So it was great hanging out with them and travel so many miles in the truck, and Terry gives us a lot of stories and talked about the evolving of sled dogs from his perspective too. So it was really great, and I see some really nice dogs, and I see some really nice places. So it was only great, everything. Nice experience.
Hey, Lars, I'm sitting here looking at your Facebook page as you're talking about mushing, and I love to hear some of the backstories about what people do in their off time. And I understand that you are a musician. Is that correct?
No, I play guitar a little bit.
So
I played in a band, so... But it's just for fun. I would not call me a guitarist or anything like that. But I'm a really simple guitarist.
Hey, that's okay. I come from the same background. I was in a band in college, and I thought we were going to be, it was during the grunge time here in the U.S., and I thought we were going to be the next Pearl Jam or something. Okay. But what inspires you to play guitar? Is it just more of a strumming, or is it something you have a real passion for?
Yeah, I have a real passion for them, but I like to listen to guitar music, and some of my idols are, really true guitar heroes. So it's I cannot play like any of those guys, but. No, I like it. It's good. It's relaxing and play, and the dogs likes when I play guitar for them. So it's pretty great.
Very cool.
It's fun.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Lars, we always ask our guests the same question, and I'm interested to hear what you have to say. You've been involved with the sport for a long time, and the question is, if somebody were just getting involved in the sport, whether they're doing, open class or stage racing or dry land or whatever, what would be your one piece of advice for that new person if they came up to you and asked?
Well, it's hard to. I'm glad that people want to enter the sport, and but make sure that you have a good place to brought up your dogs on, so you have space for them, and you got good quality for having them, so to speak. Make sure that you are ready to have a number of dogs too, so you are ready to take the work. I think that's the most important thing, because they are. Yeah.
I was going to say, that's great advice. Just a couple of weeks ago, we talked to a couple of folks that live in Middle Europe, there in Switzerland and Austria and places like that, and they said that land is a premium there, and it's very difficult to raise sled dogs. But where you live, you have a little bit more open space, don't you?
We have a lot of open space, and where I live here in Laxforsen, just outside of Kiruna, it's a lot of tourist teams, and we got good land here to have dogs on, so it's seldom any problem.
Very good. KP, anything else for Lars in closing?
No, I really enjoyed chatting with you, Lars. We know each other for a long time. I've been following your Facebook pages and your social media when you came to Canada, when you came to Alaska. I'm looking forward to see you race in the 6-dog class this year in Europe, and I hope to visit with you and see you in Alaska again, hopefully with a dog team.
Yeah, we would like to see you too in Kiruna someday.
That would be fantastic. Thank you so much.
Very good.
Yeah,
on behalf of our guest today and my co-host KP, this is Robert for the Dog Driver Show. Be sure to check us out on social media by searching Dogworks Radio. We will see you guys next time. Goodbye.
From First Paw Media, this is the Dog Driver Show. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we invite you to subscribe in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll find a link on the episode notes. You can tap or swipe on the episode cover art, and you can see some offers from our sponsors. You can support our show by supporting them. If you like what you have heard, we would love it if you could give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe too. Your hosts are Robert Forto and Kurosh Parto. Our producer is Robert Forto and created for First Paw Media.